Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. This is the song Goin Down South. This is another Hill Country style blues. And remember guys, the difference between the Hill Country blues and maybe Delta blues or other styles of blues is that with the Hill Country blues, it's really more riff based or groove based. Often they won't change the chords as much and things like that. So it's really great for kind of working your hands out, working your right hand, working your left hand, and getting a good short groove to play over and over and over again. I'm going to teach you how to play this riff today, but I'm going to teach you in two different ways with two different right hand approaches. So it's important for you to kind of see both of these different types of approaches and then try to pick the one that you think sounds the most appropriate for you. Okay, so let's jump right in and learn that riff, and then we'll talk about the right hand technique. All right, cool. So basically this riff is kind of made up of two parts. The main bit of the song is just these 8 bars that repeat over and over and over again. But let's go through the riff in 2 parts. So we've got the first 4 bars, which we're going to talk about now. And that sounds like this. Okay, that's the first 4 bars. Now, if you've noticed, the last bar there is actually we've added 2 beats. So we're counting to 4 for the first 3 bars, and then the 4th bar, we're counting to 6. Okay, now essentially it's just playing this part. Okay, but in the 4th measure, we're playing it twice in a row. Like that. So we're playing this 5th fret twice in a row. Let's slow down the riff and show you all the parts to it. So we start with this 5th fret here on the D string, okay, along with the open E string. And we're going to pluck both those together for beat 1. 1, okay. Notice also we're giving it a little tiny quarter step bend. Okay, remember, we're not bending it really far, we're just bending it kind of a little tiny bit just to give it that blues bend, okay? And that first riff, the only note that's really changing is this fret goes to the 2nd fret. So we have the 5th fret, the 2nd fret, the 5th fret, the 2nd fret, okay, and then the 3rd, and then the 4th measure, it plays the 5th fret twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that, okay? Let's add the other parts to it now too. So now we're pinching thumb, okay, and index finger on the low E and the D string, okay? Then we're going to pop these 2 top strings, so the high E and the high B string, in between the riff. So it's 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. And I'll keep repeating that. Okay. Now notice the thumb is going 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. Again, the whole riff, one more time slowly, the first 3 bars. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay, now the 4th bar, remember, we're going to play that 5th fret twice in a row. So it goes 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5, 6, and. Okay, that's that first 4 bars. So that kind of is a cool groove. They play that for about half of the song. You know, they alternate between that first riff and then the 2nd riff that we're going to go over right now. And that's basically the whole song. That's one of the cool parts about this Hill Country style blues is that, you know, the riffs are kind of short. They take a little bit of work to get to, but once you can do them, basically you know the whole song. Okay, so that's with that first technique. Now notice we were just plucking with all the fingers there. It sounds like this: 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay, a couple of the dynamics markings I want to talk about is making the pops short. Okay, notice what I'm doing there with my left hand is right after I play it, I'm kind of using my left hand to stop those notes. Okay, like that. Now, if you don't do that at first, that's okay. It'll sound like this. Okay. It doesn't have the same pop to it, okay? But that's still okay way to practice at first, just to try to get the right hand motions. Eventually, after that, try to just play it real short like that. Okay, and stopping, remember, with the left hand here. Okay. Let's go through the second half of the riff, and then after that, we'll talk about the alternate right hand approach. Okay, here's the second riff. It sounds like this. Okay, now essentially we're only really playing that 3 times in a row, and then we go back to the first riff. Okay, during the solos, they'll typically play that riff that riff that sounds like this. Okay, over and over again, while the other players will take turns soloing. So check it out. What we have here, it's these pops are in the same spot, beats 2 and 4. Okay, so we go 1E and 2 and 3, 4. 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 Okay, I'll try to slow that down a little bit more. So we have hammering on, first finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. Okay, and that's that triplet. And that's that triplet. We're counting it as 1E and 2 and 3, 4. 1E and pop and 3, pop. 1E and pop and 3, pop. Okay. So this is a really fun riff to play once you kind of get it, okay? So that's the timing of it, and that's how you do it. So the right-hand technique here is we're just really popping the strings normally, just with 2 fingers. If you can't use 2 fingers or you don't like using 2 fingers, alternatively, you can just try to pop with 1 finger like that. Okay, like that. That's a little bit harder of a motion to do, but if you can't use these other fingers, then that's really your only option for this first approach with our right hand. Okay, so that riff, basically you play that riff 3 times in a row, and then the 4th time you go back to our opening riff, okay? And then you go back to the opening riff and you're gonna cycle through these parts throughout the length of the song. All right, so at the beginning we talked about how there was a different right-hand approach. Now I think that this right-hand approach in a lot of ways is actually a little bit easier in the long run. It'll also be easier to learn other songs that are similar to this in the long run, but in the short run, if you're learning this technique for the first time today, it's going to feel pretty awkward. It's a really kind of a specialty technique that doesn't come up very much, but once you get the technique, it has so many benefits that carry over to a bunch of different genres, not just this one song. So if you like this kind of style of music or other styles of music that use this technique, I mean, this is a great starting spot for it. Okay, and here essentially what the technique is this. I don't know if you can see, I don't know if you can see what I was doing there, but basically instead of popping the strings like this, the top 2 strings, I'm popping them with a backhand strum, okay? What that allows you to do is simultaneously also hit kind of a percussion hit on the low string. So I'm doing this motion here, it's a rotation motion. So I'm rotating my hands like this, simultaneously hitting my thumb on the 6th string, making this little click sound, along with, okay, the backhand strum on the top 2 strings. So the riff with that technique sounds like this. It sounds like that, right? It's very similar. It's almost exactly the same. Here's with the other technique. With the other technique, it sounds really cool, but then once you add this new technique in there, it kind of feels like something's missing or something's left out. Okay, you get the idea, right? So just by kind of adding this backhand strum with this, it kind of gives it a little bit more rhythm, a little bit more groove, which is a really kind of big concept for hill country style blues, where it's really groove based. It's not just riff based. Okay, so let's do that technique over the first half riff. So that sounds like this. it's a little bit more simple to go through the motion because there's not a hammer on or anything like that. So let's look at that motion a little bit closer. Plucking together, then we slap, okay? Okay, same idea. Once we do the slap and hit the top strings, you want to stop it with your left hand. And now the whole riff with the backhand strum will sound like this. Okay, so it's a little bit different, right? That's without, this is with. Okay, I think it just has a little bit more of a groove to it. So this is a really fun one to play, guys. So what I'd recommend to do is just kind of learn it through the tab, maybe try it the first way first. It's kind of tricky. It's not super easy with that right hand, but once you get the riff, you know, it just repeats over and over again. Okay, once you can kind of get the riff memorized, then see if you can try it with the backhand. Okay, and then see if you can kind of combine both parts together. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to do a really slow playthrough of all 8 bars of this with a metronome so that you guys can try to play along. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's all 8 bars with the standard style. Let's try it this time with the backhand style. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. All right, great. So those are the 2 versions. Now, last thing I want to say on the backhand strum one, don't put too much effort on the slap part, okay? The most important part is just getting the notes in, right, with the backhand. That gives it also just a kind of percussive type groove by itself. Notice that sounds different than, okay? It has a different tone to it when you stroke with the backs of your fingers, okay? So if you can't do the click and the backhand strum at the same time, like this, then don't worry about it. But this is a good exercise to do, is just literally this rotational mechanic, okay? Now I'm rotating. I know that you think that a lot of people think I'm doing this motion with my arm, like I'm coming up and off on the strings. I'm not. My wrist is basically staying put. It's rotating. It's like I'm doing a key motion. Okay, like opening a key at a lock, okay? It's this motion, not this, okay? So it's rotational. Okay. All right, guys. I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys have fun learning this riff. This is a really fun song, and check out all the different versions of it. RL Burnside and the Black Keys version, and a bunch of other people played this song as well. So have fun learning it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.